When the power grid fails and you're staring into total darkness, that pile of survival gear in your garage becomes meaningless if you don't have these 7 essentials. Most people preparing for disaster are stockpiling the wrong things, and when crisis hits, that mistake could cost them everything. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the 7 survival essentials that separate those who make it from those who don't. This isn't about hoarding supplies or playing survivalist fantasy. It's about making smart, strategic choices that keep you breathing when the system collapses. And at the end, I'll ask you one question that will test whether you're truly prepared. Stay until the end to find out. Welcome to Food Decider, where we cut through the noise and give you real, actionable information for uncertain times. If you're serious about preparation, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown on the 5 ways your bug out bag can fail. Let's talk about the fatal flaw in most prepping strategies. People think survival is about quantity. They fill their basements with cases of canned food, boxes of batteries, and enough toilet paper to last a decade. But here's the truth. When stability vanishes overnight, the majority of what people stockpile will prove completely useless. Survival doesn't hinge on how much you have. It hinges on 7 core essentials. These aren't just items on a checklist, they're filters that cut through the noise and focus on what actually keeps you breathing when everything else falls apart. The first essential is water, and it's non-negotiable. Your body's first demand when disaster hits isn't food or shelter, it's water. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. Dehydration is swift and unforgiving. It leads to organ failure, impaired judgment, and ultimately death. Most people assume the tap will always flow, but that's a fragile illusion built on layers of infrastructure: electricity, treatment plants, chemical deliveries, and maintenance crews. Remove just one piece, and clean water disappears. So how do you ensure you have water when the system fails? You need 3 things: the ability to source it, store it, and purify it. Let's start with filtration. A portable, high-quality water filter is essential. Brands like Sawyer Mini, Katadyn, and LifeStraw have been proven in the field. They can process thousands of gallons and fit easily into any pack. But filtration alone isn't enough. You need storage. At home, large barrels, water bricks, and food-safe jugs buy you time. In mobile scenarios, collapsible canteens or bladders give you volume without bulk. The rule of thumb is at least 1 gallon per person per day. Double that if you're in a hot climate or caring for children. But here's the reality. Stored water runs out. That's where collection comes in. Rainwater is your most renewable supply if you're ready to capture it. A tarp, a gutter-fed barrel, or even a garbage bag funnel can collect rain in a pinch. But every single drop you collect must be filtered and purified. Purification is critical. Boiling is the gold standard, but when fire isn't an option, you need purification tablets. Iodine, chlorine, or unscented bleach all work, but you need to know the dosages. Print them out, memorize them, because Google won't be there when the grid is down. And what about bottled water? It's a stopgap, not a solution. Bottles run dry, they take up space, they can crack or expire. True resilience comes from 3 things: mobility, redundancy, and knowledge. The ability to purify and store water anywhere under any condition. That's what keeps you alive. The second essential is fire and heat. Fire is more than warmth, it's survival. When the grid fails, you lose heat, cooking, and sterilization. Cold kills quickly, especially when you're wet. Hypothermia can set in even above freezing. But fire is also psychological. It anchors you. It gives you morale when chaos surrounds you. So how do you ensure you can create fire when everything is working against you? Start with ignition. A cheap lighter is fine until it gets wet. Redundancy is key. Carry ferro rods, magnesium blocks, waterproof matches, and stormproof lighters. Stash them in multiple places: on your person, in your pack, and in your vehicle. But ignition is only half the battle. You need fuel. Specifically, you need things that catch fire easily: cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly, dryer lint stored in waterproof tins, alcohol gel, pine resin, or fat wood. Smart preppers don't just carry a spark, they carry tinder. Once you have fire, you need to think about heat generation for shelter. A portable stove, whether alcohol-based or twig burning, can keep your shelter warm enough to sleep. Combine that with thermal blankets, insulated tarps, or even a tent pitched inside a room to trap warmth. But here's what most people overlook. Skill matters more than gear. Practice building fire in adverse conditions. Wet wood, low light, cold hands. When you're exhausted and under pressure, muscle memory is what saves you, not the number of lighters in your bag. The third essential is blades and multi-tools. Forget the Hollywood machetes. The blade that matters is the one you always have and know how to use. Blades aren't about combat. They're about utility, cutting rope, shaping wood, opening cans, prepping food, building shelter.
And yes, defense if absolutely necessary. You need 3 categories of blades. First, a folding pocket knife for everyday carry. It should have a strong locking mechanism, easy one-handed opening, and be made of stainless or high-carbon steel. Brands like Swiss Army, Spyderco, or CRKT are reliable and proven. Second, a fixed-blade survival knife. 4 to 6 inches of full-tang steel, strong enough for batoning wood, skinning game, or prying when you need leverage. Morakniv and Kabar are excellent choices that won't break the bank. Third, a multi-tool. Think Leatherman, not knockoff. Pliers, screwdrivers, saws, scissors. This is urban survival's best friend for repairs and improvisation. When you need to fix a broken shelter or repair gear, a multi-tool is worth its weight in gold. But here's the catch. A dull blade is dangerous. Carry a pocket stone or compact sharpener and learn how to use it. Practice safe cutting techniques. Always use one hand. Always cut away from your body, even when you're shivering and exhausted. The fourth essential is medical basics. When the system fails, ambulances stop running, hospitals overflow, pharmacies get stripped bare. Minor injuries can become life-threatening infections. Your medical kit must address 3 critical things: stopping blood loss, fighting infection, and managing pain. Let's start with blood loss. A real tourniquet like a CAT or SOTTW is essential. Not a makeshift belt, not a bandana, a real tourniquet designed to stop arterial bleeding. And you need to practice applying it, one-handed, in the dark, under stress. Because when seconds count, fumbling with instructions isn't an option. Next, infection control. Antiseptics like betadine, alcohol, and hydrogen peroxide are cheap and vital. Stock real gauze rolls, serious medical tape, and nitrile gloves. Latex allergies can be deadly without an EpiPen, so nitrile is safer. Clean wounds immediately. Dress them properly. Infection kills when antibiotics aren't available. Pain management becomes critical in a crisis. Over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen, acetaminophen, and aspirin aren't just for headaches. They reduce swelling, manage fever, and buy time for more serious treatment. Stock them in quantity. And don't overlook sanitation. Gloves, soap, alcohol gel, tweezers, trauma shears. These are as vital as your flashlight or food. Masks, eye protection, and aprons help protect both the patient and the caregiver from cross-contamination. But here's the hard truth. Gear is useless without skill. Learn to clean and dress wounds. Recognize the signs of infection. Splint fractures. Take a Stop the Bleed class. Watch trauma videos. Print guides for reference when the lights go out. Knowledge is the difference between saving a life and watching someone die from something preventable. The fifth essential is tactical lighting. When the grid goes down, darkness becomes a real threat. It hides dangers. It erodes your senses. It breeds panic. The right light source keeps you functional and safe. Your primary light needs to be compact, rugged, and reliable. At least 800 lumens, waterproof, and impact resistant. Brands like Surefire, Olight, and Phoenix are built for crisis situations. They're not cheap, but they don't fail when you need them most. But here's the problem. Wall plugs are useless in a blackout. Your flashlight needs to be rechargeable through USB, paired with portable solar panels or crank chargers. Combine that with a power bank and you have weeks of light instead of hours. Your light also needs multiple modes. Too much light draws attention. You need high, low, and red modes. Red light preserves your night vision and reduces your visibility to others. In a collapse scenario, being seen can be just as dangerous as not seeing. And don't underestimate headlamps. Hands-free lighting is a game changer for shelter building, cooking, first aid, and navigation. Adjustable brightness and rechargeable batteries are non-negotiable features. But technology means nothing without training. Practice navigating in total darkness. Practice signaling without blinding yourself or others. Train with your gear before you need it, because fumbling with settings in a crisis wastes precious seconds. The sixth essential is protection. In a true collapse, someone is coming, hungry, desperate, convinced you have more than they do. Law enforcement is gone. Fear rules the streets. You have a choice. Look like prey or become unapproachable. Legal weapons depend on your location. It could be a firearm, a tactical baton, or a crossbow. The type matters less than your ability to use it under pressure. If you choose to carry a weapon, train regularly. Owning it isn't enough. You need muscle memory and the mental clarity to act when adrenaline floods your system. Deterrence tools can buy you precious seconds. Bear spray, not pepper spray. Bear spray has greater range and stopping power. Personal alarms, strobe flashlights, and visible cameras can make attackers think twice before approaching. Your home needs layered defense. Solar-powered motion lights, physical obstructions, reinforced doors, and sturdy locks slow intruders down. Layered defense is smarter than direct confrontation. Make your home harder to breach than your neighbors, and you become the less appealing target. But here's something most people miss. Perception matters.
How you carry yourself changes how others perceive you. Alert, calm, and prepared people get second-guessed. Hang visible warning signs, even if they're bluffs. Certainty is scarier than force. And if you have a trusted neighbor or second set of eyes, that's invaluable. Community is defense. But with protection comes responsibility. Know your legal rights. Understand the ethical weight of every decision. Avoid unnecessary escalation. In a true crisis, waiting for rescue isn't a strategy, it's surrender. But that doesn't mean you act recklessly. Every choice has consequences. The seventh and final essential is the resilient mind. You can have the best gear in the world, but if your mind collapses, none of it matters. Panic, fear, and confusion are the real enemies. Survival starts in your head, not your hands. The first skill you need is situational awareness. Read body language, notice street behavior, listen to noise levels, watch animal movement. Survivors spot patterns, not headlines. They notice what changes, what repeats, and what disappears. They stay ahead of the curve because they're constantly observing. Next is stress inoculation. Don't just read about hardship, experience it. Take cold showers, sleep outside with minimal gear, go without your phone or electricity for a day. Fast. Controlled discomfort trains your mind to stay calm when discomfort becomes life or death. Emotional regulation is critical. Fear, grief, anger, loneliness. These are normal. The best survivors are emotionally disciplined. They pause, they breathe, they wait for logic before acting. A mental mantra like pause, breathe, observe, decide can ground you when chaos erupts around you. You also need purpose. Survival for survival's sake isn't enough. Your why, protecting loved ones, returning home, proving you won't quit, becomes your anchor. Write it down, repeat it, make it your armor. When everything falls apart, purpose is what keeps you moving forward. And finally, acceptance. Collapse changes the rules. The longer you deny reality, the longer you stay frozen. Adaptation is survival. Stop asking why this is happening. Start asking what your next move is. Then act. So here's the gut check. Imagine you have seconds to choose one item from these 7 essentials. Just one. Would it be the blade that never leaves your side? The water filter that buys you days? The flashlight that makes night less terrifying? Or the protection that makes you untouchable? This isn't just a thought exercise. It's a gut check. Your choices will be fast, final, and based on what matters most to you. These 7 essentials, water, fire, blades, medical supplies, lighting, protection, and the resilient mind, are your foundation when everything falls apart. They're not about gear lists or fantasies. They're about logic, scenario planning, and honest self-assessment. So here's my question for you. If you had just seconds to grab one item from these 7 categories, what would it be and why? Drop your answer in the comments below. Your logic might give someone else the edge they need to survive. Don't forget to subscribe because next time we're breaking down the 5 ways your bug out bag can fail and exactly how to fix them before it's too late. Stay prepared, stay sharp, and remember, survival is a conversation among those who refuse to become a statistic.